You're watching ChillyBoy Productions. I'm Larry ChillyBoy Chilson, and this is my review for Kung Fu Panda 4. Now, before we get into this review, make sure to go ahead and click that subscribe button down below so that you can chill with me on each and every one of my latest videos. Kung Fu Panda 4 is a 2024 comedy adventure film. Kung Fu Panda 4 is a 2024 animated comedy adventure film from Dreamworks Animation, which also serves as the fourth feature-length installment in the Kung Fu Panda franchise. This time around, we follow Po, who must choose his successor and train a new warrior when he is chosen to become the new spiritual leader for the Valley of Peace. However, when a powerful, shape-shifting sorceress sets her eyes on his staff, he suddenly realizes he's gonna need some help. Teaming up with a quick-witted fox, Po soon learns that heroes can be found in the most unexpected places. The film sees veterans of the franchise return, with Jack Black, James Hong, and Dustin Hoffman all reprising their roles, as well as Bryan Cranston and Ian McShane, with newcomers Awkwafina, Ke Kwan, and Viola Davis also starring. So I really like the Kung Fu Panda series. I think all three of the first films were really strong, and they all rank among the best that DreamWorks has to offer. Now, it's not my favorite of the DreamWorks franchises, but it is possibly the most surprising. It seems like just kind of a fun throwaway, unassuming series that could have gone really wrong, and instead they have found a way to infuse Poe's journey with so much. So much heart, so much action, so much wit and comedy, and it all works. So, of course, I'm just excited for a fourth installment to this franchise. Anytime we get more Kung Fu Panda, I'm excited to see what they bring to the table. And then you add Viola Davis as our villain? Yeah, I was pumped. And that's why I'm so happy to say that once again, DreamWorks delivers with Kung Fu Panda 4. While I would say it's definitively the weakest in the franchise, it is still a good time at the movies. So, let's go ahead and talk about the positives first. Well, once again, Poe as a character is really just fantastic, and Jack Black, you can tell, adores playing Poe. He is so full of life, so effervescent with his vocal work here. I think he's fantastic. Poe remains ever lovable, and really the bear hug that holds everything together. I also loved James Hong and Bryan Cranston. Their entire subplot here is really good. One thing the Kung Fu Panda series has done really well, and obviously the third film in particular honed in on, was this idea of found family, this idea of blended families, really delved in on adoption and the struggles and joys that come with the messiness and the whole situation. And this film really kind of leans on the partnership between Poe's two dads. And I loved it. James Hong, what an icon, a legend, and I'm so grateful he's still here to lend his amazing voice work. And then Bryan Cranston just effortlessly falls into this role, and they have really fun chemistry together. And then we get Viola Davis, who is having a ball playing this villain. She has such a distinct, amazing voice to do animation, and I'm so glad we got her amazing voice here because it worked so well. I also think the animation is very nice. Now, this is the cheapest of the four Kung Fu Panda films, and I think at points you can tell just a little bit. We don't get any of the big jaw-dropping set pieces I think we get in the first three. However, the action is still really fun and full of energy. All of our characters look very nice. We have some great little moments throughout. It keeps the energy and spirit of the first three films, both through animation and through comedy and through tone. And something to really appreciate about this fourth film and the franchise at large is that it's never been reductive. Each of the four films finds a new adversary as well as finds a new emotional and spiritual journey for Poe to go on that is not the same. It's never been a rehash, and this one is no different as he learns to take on a new role and learns to embrace change against a chameleon as his villain. Oh, so good. So then, with these positives, why would I say this is definitively the weakest in the franchise? What are the negatives when it comes to Kung Fu Panda 4? Well, outside of the animation not being quite up to the level of those first three films, you can also tell they were cutting corners with that budget in our voice cast. That's right, our Furious Five are absent here. They're here in spirit. We get an explanation of what's going on, but oh, it was, they were sorely missed to me personally in this story, particularly with what it's representing and what it's telling as Poe learns to become more of a mentor. And we have come full circle in many ways to that first film. So to not have them present for that was a huge disservice. And then there's a line here that one of our characters says, we're going to have to build our own army. Seems kind of crazy that this franchise was built with a 5-person kung fu army in and of itself, and they're just not here to help Poe with his adversary. And as we're going back and we're revisiting old villains and old ideas in the villain story, to not have that mirrored with the Furious Five in our hero story feels like a huge disservice to the full circle nature of what's happening. Even on our villain side, you can definitely tell that they just couldn't get the voice actors back on. Ian McShane returns to voice Tai Lung, and of course I loved it. He's great, he's amazing. However, they show our other two villains because she summons them, as we see in the trailers and what her deal is. They're silent. And when you have Ian McShane talking up a storm over here, and then you have our other two villains just not utter a word, it becomes very obvious that they just didn't have Gary Oldman and J.K. Simmons available. Either they couldn't pay them to come back, they weren't available on script. So it just seemed very odd to me. You couple that with the fact that the Furious Five are gone as well, and it's just like, oof. Okay, we really just could not get these actors back to a set, huh? For one reason or another, and unfortunately, they had to draw attention to it like this. Then we get Aquafina's character. She's a new character. She's this cute little fox. I think Aquafina does okay. I didn't love her voice work here. Maybe I'm just used to her voice work because she's done so much of it. I thought she was fine, though. And I thought the character was fine. I didn't love this new character, so that makes the arc that takes place over the course of the film not fully work for me. You obviously telegraph it the moment she arrives on screen. You know exactly where we're going, you know exactly what's going to happen. And I was on board at first. I was like, okay, this actually makes a lot of sense. But once we go through the whole motions with her character, it made less and less sense, and it didn't resonate on a message emotional level as much as I think they were hoping. Not to mention, I do find Poe's arc going from Dragon Warrior to spiritual leader rushed. Like, I know this is film number 4, but he's still kind of in his prime. I don't know, he's young. They haven't aged him very much. He's still very physically able to do it. So you're kind of like, huh, why do we have to move on so fast like this? The last spiritual leader we had was ancient. I don't understand. And other than clearly a need to progress Poe's character and story to the next level, to the next chapter, the next level of growth, in world story wise, it felt like a stretch to go there here. And then finally, my last little like quibble with the film that really kind of separated it from the first three is that it just didn't emotionally connect, and it wasn't funny enough to make up for that lack of emotion. I thought the first three films all had specific emotional beats that come full circle. They're really powerful. They do a great job of representing these different aspects. And this one is just kind of a fun story. The message is about change, but it doesn't hit on any side, but it doesn't really hit an emotional level on that front. And the comedy, I only chuckled a few times. I just didn't find it quite as funny as the first films either. So it doesn't hit on either of the two big aspects that make the Kung Fu Panda work so well, the emotional beats and the humor. So I know I just ran through all those negatives, and it sounds like maybe I didn't enjoy myself with this film. It's just definitely a step down from the first three in the series. So it's hard not to compare it to those first three films that were just so good. But as it is, I do think Kung Fu Panda 4 is a nice, pleasant addition to this world. And much like Toy Story 4 did, I think Kung Fu Panda 4 struggles to find its own purpose of existence in addition to the first three films. But as it is, it's a fun, enjoyable watch with Jack Black and the rest of the cast doing a wonderful job to bring this story to life and have a good time with the audience. Because at the end of the day, that's kind of what Kung Fu Panda 4 is, a really fun watch. So if you've been a fan of the Kung Fu Panda saga, I think you should definitely head out to the movie theater and check this one out. You'll have some more fun with characters that we love. So that is my review for Kung Fu Panda 4. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, go ahead, click like down below and subscribe to the channel so that you are always up to date on all of my latest videos. Also, join in on the discussion. What did you think of Kung Fu Panda 4? Are you a fan of this series? Let me know all of your thoughts either in the comment section down below, or you can hit me up on Twitter. I love you all so much for your continued support. Mwah. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.